What would life look like if instead of running from your fears, you faced them? You ran towards them and welcomed your fears into your life. Who would you become? Obviously, it's been quite some time since I've been here with you, and I want to welcome us all to this new year and say thank you for being here with me. I've been on hiatus, running to and from my fears, going back and forth, and just experiencing life and our full range of emotions. And I knew I wouldn't return back to the podcast until I felt fully ready and until I felt called to. And it took a lot longer than I expected. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. But I didn't want to pressure myself into creating just for the sake of creating. I want to be in the state of life where creating is inevitable. I knew when I returned it would be raw and real and authentic, and it would feel good. It would feel like a breath of fresh air. And I was right, because it does feel like that. It also feels like a fresh start, like I can begin again as this new person that I am, and we can all tap in and welcome the new versions of ourselves that we have become from this time lapse in between. This winter season has brought forth a lot of weak moments, a lot of strong moments, and it's felt like a true test of my patience and character. But I feel like I've finally returned to a place where things have settled and I'm gaining clarity rather than feeling like I'm clawing my way out of wet mud. I think sometimes when I'm in the midst of a big change or transformation, or I'm really just in the thick of things, I forget what clarity looks like. I forget what it feels like. And I forget that it's a state of being that I am going to return to. Because with all of this time in between, I've just been really confused, wondering when I'm going to feel that peace again. But I think I forgot to remind myself that the peace is always there. It's just that I need to return to it. And the journey that I'm on is constantly returning back to that place, despite whatever it is that I am going through. But such is life. This is the ebb and flow. So I reside here now in the aftermath. It feels like the calm after the storm. Non-coincidentally, Mercury has just gone direct. Literally today, at the time of recording, Mercury is out of retrograde. And no, I actually didn't plan this. I felt the spark to speak again, and I'm just piecing it together now that the timing makes sense to me, because this Mercury retrograde, this past one, has been pretty bumpy, and there were a lot of travel issues and communication issues, a lot of the things that Mercury retrograde causes, and I really felt it full force that I didn't even really have the time to come back to myself and really be able to piece it together until now. And Mercury is now out of retrograde. Mercury is direct. Feeling good about this. I'm feeling like things are slowing down a little bit. The storm has passed, quite literally. Where I am, the storm seems to have passed. The flooding is over. And we are kind of in the clear now, headed towards a new spring season. We are on the tail end of winter. And I'm getting ready to sort of plant some seeds and start again. I wasn't planning to come back to this today. I knew at some point throughout this week or in the next coming week that I was feeling the inkling to speak again. I was feeling the inkling to create, but I just didn't really know when it would be. I didn't know what would spark it, which brings me back to what I've come here to speak on today, which is fear. The idea of facing your fears. I pulled an oracle card right before this, and that was what sparked this notion within me. And I just felt so called to come back, and I'm so happy that I chose to come back, because It is a place that I've really missed. It's a place where I get to connect with myself. And as a result, I get to connect with you. So I'd like to share the message with you of the card that I pulled. The card itself is really beautiful. I wish you could see it, but you'll just have to take my word for it. It's a beautiful oracle deck, and the message on here is face your fears. Farewell to fear phantoms. Enter the lion's jungle. Don't think about getting hurt. Fearful thoughts are simply phantoms of the mind. No one is harmed in this jungle. Everything is compassion and love. Your fear is what holds you back, like a bar behind the door. That is a quote by Rumi that was given through this oracle deck, and there is a message that comes along with it. If the world seems like an unfriendly place to you, it may be that you are lost in mundane details. Accept that pain and struggle are a part of life in the same way that pleasure and joy are. By doing so, you will lessen the tension of fear and the impact of its force upon you. As Rumi points out, life is not harmful to you. It is your fear that makes phantoms in your mind. Love is a creative power, and you are here to live the truth and experience it in its fullness. Feel the divine presence of love in your heart for everything and everyone around you. By doing that, you will cause fear to disappear into the sweetness of surrender. Once you feel this connection, you will begin to realize that it is love that has awakened you. I love this message. I love this oracle deck. I'm so grateful that this is the card that popped out because it sparked so much within me and really brought me to this place of reflection. Fearful thoughts are simply phantoms of the mind. I love that quote. I love the combined message with it as it reminds us that life is always going to continue on as life is. But it is our reaction and our perception of life that skews how we experience it and what our experience of life actually is. We can choose to live in fear or live in love. Live in love and you live in a place of divine protection, where even in your worst fears, you are safe. When we choose to live in love, we accept every outcome, and this places all trust in the universe to protect us. We accept that life is not happening to us, but for us. I think that this is the most important part of all of this, is that we accept and we surrender to that fact that life is not happening to us, but for us. This really changes the entire narrative, because I think sometimes we forget that even when we are struggling in life, we are not here to be harmed. There is nothing for anyone to gain out of us being harmed. Like, we are really here to learn the lessons that we need to learn to face the karma that we need to face. Life is happening for us. But when we choose to live in fear and act out of our fears, we aren't being authentic to ourselves and our true nature. And what we're doing by denying that for ourselves is creating